Yes, so James and Craig they went up to Leicester last night and they were shooting stuff with the Leicester fans because Leicester fans getting all chippy, saying they're going to win the Champions League. And what happened?
That's right.
They dished up a wallop.
What was? I didn't watch last. I was due to watch last night, but this is what happens now. Once you've got a fucking
baby,
a child, a baby, a beautiful,
it brings
wonderful
much
baby.
love and wonder into your life.
Yeah, and all of a sudden, Ty was ill yesterday, so all of a sudden I had to then get a train to pick her up in Surrey because she couldn't drive.
Oh,
sick everywhere.
Really?
Selfish.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not.
She doesn't listen anymore, so we can say what you can say.
She don't listen anymore.
I wouldn't disrespect.
Now she's got the child. She thinks that it's over. She don't have to work.
Priorities, what she needs to understand, she's got to keep your relationship alive, and staying interested in what you're interested in is crucial to any healthy relationship. If you haven't listened to the Ball Street podcast before, Long Ball Street podcast before, and if this is your first time, we're two men with decades of experience of watching football.
Decades.
You know, two men, sexually active, healthy.
Yeah, very. I don't know where to go with that, Flav, but I do know that the other week when we did our podcast, people were talking about you having the itchiest nose in history.
Yeah.
I seem to have caught that today.
Yeah.
And it's really itchy. Why does that happen?
Hay fever.
I don't get hay fever.
Right, I have even. I mean, there are some accusations I'm not going to go into on the bullshit on the YouTube comments, which scandalous.
Okay.
But other
does it regularly bother you?
I have it on a daily basis. I've had it since I was a kid. My mum took me to hospital, saying not like emergency hospital, but to get allergy tests.
Yeah. And they said hay fever, or they said
he has a slight pollen allergic reaction to pollen, and then she thought it was the feathers in my pillow. I mean, she was a great mum. She is a great mum.
Yeah.
But unnecessary trips to the hospital were common in my.
Oh really?
Yeah. Apart from one time, I broke my wrist, and it took her 3 days to take me to the hospital.
3 days.
Yeah,
okay.
So bordering on abuse.
Okay. So I've had it before, but it's more of a. I thought it might have been like an anxiety-based thing, because I remember being a couple of times when I was out on dates, and I remember getting this like really super itchy nose to the stage where it started to become something all I could think about, and I'm like, I need to itch it. Almost going, oh god, look at that over there. And then kind of go,
how'd that
and going to the toilet, washing my face and nose, because right now I've just washed it now. It feels so itchy.
Is it like at the end here?
It's the whole nose almost.
Oh
wow!
Oh
yeah.
Oh yeah.
There we go.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Weird.
I mean, don't be embarrassed. Like this is lads ultimately out there.
We're kind of cool. We're fine. We don't get judged in that way, do we? By our.
Well,
we kind of do
sort of.
Yeah, a little bit.
So if you're watching on YouTube, thank you for joining us. And if you're not, if you're listening to via the podcast, then come and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Long Ball Street.
Go both ways, really. But we have it's LFC Joe or something like that. I forget his LCFC Joe. Sorry.
Yeah, Leicester fan.
That comments a lot. So what you're saying is that Leicester fans were confident and had started to get a little bit like, hang on, we're going to do this, and then they're out.
I think
so. We went up to make a video about that, did we?
I think ultimately we wanted to chronicle what would hopefully, for the video's sake, see Leicester getting through against Atletico Madrid, because what a story that would be. Unfortunately, football is quite cruel at times, and they've had their fair share of glory. They've had their fair share of happiness over the last 18 months.
And they should be proud. They're the last one standing, weren't they?
Mate,
they've done really well.
What they've done is, I mean, they've got further in the Champions League than Arsenal have in the last 10 years. It's
leave it out.
Sorry.
Can't help yourself, can you?
It's coming. It's close.
Speaking of which, I did notice a tweet from you the other day. I forget the exact words. Adam might be able to help me. What were the exact words?
Fucking gap, you slags.
Mind the gap. Mind the gap, you slags.
Yeah.
No, mind the fucking gap, you slags.
Mind the gap, you fucking slags.
Okay.
I mean,
how do you feel about that now?
I was drunk when I sent it. It was late at night. I literally just recorded the Fighting Cock podcast.
Right.
I then had a couple of beers with my mate.
So you were feeling plucky.
I just watched Arsenal get smashed 3-0 by Palace.
Right.
And I come home and I wasn't even thinking about tweeting, and I was sitting down with my old man, and he's
just looked at your phone.
No, he's banging. My old man's banging on about how terrible Arsenal are. They're broken. They're broken. They're done. They're done and dusted. And I'm like, fuck, I mean, my dad is an influential person in my life.
Did he encourage you to use Twitter?
He doesn't know what Twitter is, but he.
Okay. So you interpreted his as
it's just his arrogance about art. Not arrogance. He's just sure. What would you call it? He's
cocksure.
Yeah, but that's the way that it was just talking to me, so it wasn't cocksureness. He was just completely convincing about what he was saying. That Arsenal were broken, and I was like, fuck it, I want to steal a march on every other. And say mind the gap before everyone else does. I woke up in the morning, like my mates on the fighting cock, they weren't happy. No, they weren't happy. They were like...
What, because they're thinking that you've tempted the football gods, that one, or...?
So that was one problem. The other problem is obviously when I speak from the fighting cock account, I speak for everyone.
Okay.
And they weren't happy. They weren't ready to go yet.
Right.
And I weren't ready to go. It was just...
You were drunk.
Inebriated and having the influence of my father.
Yeah.
Both those two things are generally quite bad.
Of course.
Historically. So yeah, and then that's what I did.
But since then, how is the gap?
It's still 14 points.
Still 14 points.
Yeah, I mean, it was 17 points for a while.
Right.
But it's 14 points, and Arsenal win one game. They kind of get over the line against Borough, win 2-1, and the pupper starts going.
You start to get nervous.
A little bit.
Just because of what? It's like that little brother, big brother syndrome, isn't it?
Lived through it, mate.
Yeah.
You've lived through it. You know, you understand. It's not like you say.
Surely, at this stage, 14 points. They are done. They're all over the shop. They're fighting with each other. The players don't want to play for the manager. They're done, mate. They must be done.
Ad, what do you think?
I think they're done.
Yeah.
Cameron at the back there.
They're done.
They're done. They're done.
So maybe I was right to steal a march
You
on
are.
everyone.
I think this is the one, isn't it? This is the final. This is how long has it been?
26 years.
20. Is that what that you've never finished above that?
Yeah, 2000.
That's crazy.
1994, when Bruce Rioch was in charge.
Wow.
The season they signed Bergkamp.
Wow.
Weird one.
So well, good luck with that. But there's another gap, isn't there? There's the gap between first and second.
Yeah, I mean that I'm less concerned with that, and it might be small time. If we win the league, mate, I would be over the moon. If we win the double, I'd probably end football. But
you'd end football.
Yeah.
Hang on a minute. What? How would you do that?
Just
like some kind of vest with explosives. Or?
I'm not like affirmative. No, nothing like that.
Poison.
I think that everyone, Sky Sports, Jim White, Robbie from Arsenal Fan TV, you, I think we'd all agree that the game's been completed. Right. There's no point anymore.
No, okay.
And I'd be fine with that.
Right.
It'd be an acceptance.
That'd be over. But what's the gap? How far behind them are you?
4.
4 points. 4 points?
Is it 4?
No, 5.
5.
No, it's 4. See, in my head, it's been 7 for so long. It was 10. What do you remember?
It's 4 points.
It is 4, isn't it?
And they were. I watched like about 10 minutes of that game against United, and they didn't look at it.
Yeah,
no. 4. So bearing in mind when the chase started, it was 10. It was 10, and we've clawed back 6.
Right. So you're like that. You know when you watch a horse race and there's that one that's going backwards, and then there's that horse that's coming up on the outside. Yeah. You're that one. Yeah. You're the horse that's.
Does that one
you're like Mo Farah on the final bend. You're in full. You're kicking, and there's someone there that's looking. They're looking over their shoulder.
I like to think I'm Sally Gunnell.
An itchy-nosed Sally Gunnell.
Look, if it happens, it happens. It would be incredible, but
don't give me if it happens, it happens. Like it's nothing.
You know
that's like if I go out without an umbrella, it rains a bit, and I get a bit wet. It happens. It happens. You're talking about winning the league, Flav. What would that mean to you?
I mean, everything.
Everything. You're so funny. It would be great. I'm going to put it out here. I want Spurs to do it. I really do.
There's a weird situation because everybody does, apart from Leicester fans, and
they don't want you to do it.
No, because they can't. There's like
it's not special. Then it's like.
Well, it's still special that they've done it. I mean, Spurs have a much more.
No, but it dilutes it. Is that why?
To some degree.
Yeah. Okay.
I think more so that they have this kind of weird kindred spirit between Leicester and Chelsea, because Chelsea stopped Spurs from winning the league last season.
Oh.
And Leicester want to stop us.
Some kind of Blues Brothers.
Yeah, weird, but also kind of acceptable because Chelsea have, it's a bit of a stereotype about the Chelsea fans, but they've kind of got a more nationalistic Brexit voting type fan base. I'm talking from my own personal experience and not from Ball Street or Matt here. And Leicester appear to have that as
My
well.
nose has started itching. I think it is anxiety.
And Leicester appear to have that as well when, we saw in Europe the terrible songs they were singing about wanting to go to war with Gibraltar and throwing coins over asylum seekers' heads.
To war with Gibraltar
or
to war with Spain?
War with Spain. Hooliganism's on the rise. Apparently so. Do you want me to just talk about it?
No, I don't. It's just yeah, I'm with you. Okay, so hooliganism is on the rise. I mean, is that statistically on the rise, or do we have more cameras now and more stuff, and these things get centralised and spread more?
Or are we a bit more politically correct than we used to be?
Or are we a little bit more politically?
What's wrong with punching a man in the head at football?
Exactly, it's been going on for years. Do you know what? I remember once at a Huddersfield match when I was a kid, and there was a guy it was when it was terracing, right? So it was years ago, and I think that we needed to win to stay up at this point. And we were playing Oldham on a Tuesday night, and I remember it's a must-win game, and we went 1-0 down, and then I think that they scored again. And this guy that was stood next to me, like I was, the barriers, the terracing, and you get like the concrete blocks. I was weak
to stop surging.
My uncle used to get me sitting on that thing like that, so I used to sit on the barrier.
The surge barriers.
And this guy that was right at the side of me, literally was like, "Fuck this!" Just went down the side over the thing, just started kicking the shit out of the linesman. Like seriously,
I mean,
happened.
They are annoying.
They are. Oh my god! What about that lino? Have you seen that clip? Adam, put that clip in this thing. The lino doing the that's warming up like he's gonna play. You know,
in the
like people that are like, yeah, doing all this kind of like as if they're gonna, like you see fighters doing it and they're going, this kind of, and he's doing that like, he's proper limbering up. It's like, mate, you're a linesman. I hate linesmen, but that's unacceptable. But mad shit happens in football.
Does.
I don't know if it's on the rise again or if it's ever down or if it's just always there, but you seem to think it's on the rise. Tell me about it.
UEFA have had an increase of 64% in disciplinary actions in the last 2 years. That's for a disciplinary action might be against a club or a set of fans or individual sanctions, and that could be to do with crowd violence. It could be doing with racist chanting. It could be that kind of shit. Throwing objects on the pitch. So that's not to say that hooliganism, as we understand it's on the rise, but then you've got that stuff that happened in the Euros with Russia kicking off.
Oh God, yeah.
Lyon fans just this week. What was it? Lyon fans.
Lyon fans fighting Besiktas fans.
Yes, problems with Lyon fans fighting Besiktas fans, and the game between Lyon and Bastia.
So that was in what is that? Europa League, and then a few days afterwards, Lyon fans are at it again, but this time in a local, in a game in domestic game.
It was the other way around.
They went for it. Okay.
Bastia fans came on and started fighting Lyon players.
This is the pre-match one, right?
Yeah.
That's an unusual one.
So
Pre-match.
It started again at half time and then the game got called off.
Bloody hell.
And Bayern Munich fans, the police coming into the stands and truncheon in the Bayern Munich fans.
Well, France is I think that to some degree we got to stay in our lane. I'm personally definitely not qualified to talk about geopolitical issues in countries like France. However, they've had a lot of problems there, haven't they?
Political upheaval, isn't it?
Yeah, but also
a lot of far right.
Yeah, a lot of far right
political parties gaining.
A lot of. I mean, do you remember when we went to do that podcast with Righty and we went to Paris?
Yeah.
We were chatting to that couple that they might have just been friends, but the young French guy, and they were just saying because of all the different terrorist attacks and stuff like that, they were talking about how actually scared they were and how everyone was absolutely just genuinely. Do you not remember that?
The only guy I remember is the guy who came up to us when we were like, "Do you want to hook up and chat to birds?" That's the only thing I can remember.
All right, you two, your brothers were no. It's like, you're good looking, right? Okay, where's this going?
I just said, yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to? Should we pull birds together? I live just up the road. We can take them back there and shag them.
So we'll go back there so you can wear my skin.
What the fuck? Yeah, that was just weird.
That was weird. I don't remember the scared guys,
but
I can remember the climate at the time.
The bar outside our hotel, we sat down and had a
I do
young people. But yeah, I mean it's difficult, and I think a lot of the times when things are going on in society like that, they manifest as sort of tensions that then end up kind of coming out in moments where extreme passion's taking place, like a football match.
Yeah, completely. Yeah, that's exactly it. In the same way that kind of political ideologies, far right political ideologies, have historically attached themselves to football hooligan groups. It's like again a microcosm of society as ever. You know, hooligans are extremist parts of football support. Far rightists are extremist parts of society. And you'd probably look in comparison, if you looked at the percentage of hooligans compared to the amount of people that watch football in a weekend, it'd probably be comparable in terms of the size. So
so where are we going with this?
I'm less worried about putting my name to generalistic statements about things I don't really know about than you are. So I would say that it's definitely representative of the political climate, and that the fans are generally and society generally is a bit more angry.
So
a bit more confused about what's going on, and you've got to look at the FIFA stuff. People are feel disenfranchised from the game. All the stuff like the rise in ticket prices, the fans feel less empowered. Generally, that is going to create a negative atmosphere. You've got the ruling bodies of football in Europe being corrupt to the core. All of that creates anger, doesn't it?
It does. I mean, it'd be interesting to know, actually, out of people that watch this, how many of you actually go to the games? How many go to the footy? And do you see football hooliganism as a problem in the English game or not?
That's a good question.
Because I still go. Like, I remember when I was a kid, football hooliganism was, I'd say, much more. It felt much more prevalent to me. I used to see it more. I used to experience it in and around games.
At what age? What decade? Are you talking about late 80s, early 90s?
I'm probably talking. When did I start going? I'm talking probably late 80s. Probably late 80s, 90s.
So that decade, the 80s and the early 90s, 70s was bad as well, but that was still prevalent then. Would you class, say Huddersfield play Leeds, and there's lots of jumping up and down, a few fisticuffs, bit of back and forth, getting in amongst it, throwing a little jab when no one's looking. I ain't on camera. Well, you didn't catch me, I didn't do it. Is that hooliganism, or is it just getting a little bit caught up in the rivalry? Because there's a difference, isn't there? I'm not
saying. There probably is a difference. God, I mean, I think that so what you always get in derbies and what you get often in really big games is, especially when it's like big clubs. So what Leeds will often do if they're going to a game is they would get an allocation that they'd sell out, and then they'd be showing up in home support. And I think that what you've always got, which I've been in quite a few home ends as an away supporter, and I've been in like the Holt end at Villa with a Liverpool fan, and I think I spoke about that when he penalty at first minute, and I've seen people come to Huddersfield and they score and they jump up and then they get a dig ultimately, or they, so
that's a flashpoint.
That's a flashpoint. I'm not sure that's hooliganism, but
no,
but it don't matter. All I'm saying is, for me, like, you used to see more lads going around looking for it. Hooliganism is more for me about active arranged meetups in certain places, or flashpoints whereby a pub gets done in, say, where there's, and you've got people hanging out of the window, people coming in and throwing stuff like that's kind of hooligans rather than
like West Ham hooligans that came down to Tottenham and smashed up the pub at 3:00 in the afternoon when no one's there.
Flav,
not saying that I would.
Flav, why do you keep doing this today?
What?
You're just kind of like saying all this stuff that's going to get us into trouble.
Not us into trouble, I said it.
Well, you are. I know, but still.
Alright. Well, I'm just saying that they attacked a pub when there no one in there. That's
I like to give it a big one.
I am not.
Okay.
Not giving. I fronted up Nicky from West Ham Fan
saw
TV.
That,
you saw it. You was there.
Yeah.
I came out on top.
Well.
More or less.
No.
Nah. All right. So there's some news from the Sun in Merseyside.
Yeah.
Big problems there.
Oh God, yeah.
Let's not get into that. It's two massive subjects.
Jesus Christ.
On the bounce. But Mark Ellison, I think he sends in lots of tweets.
Yeah,
he
good
posed
lad,
a question. He is a good lad.
He's the one that, by the way, Mark didn't think that Adam's Adidas mix with his thingamajig was appropriate, and today's got Reebok and LS, which I'm more alright with that. But Adidas Originals is kind of quite an important thing. I just don't know. I still don't get that. But we had a little bit of both on the comments. But that's who Mark is, by the way. And he said categorically that he wasn't allowed Adidas with something else. No,
But I like the way that Adam doesn't seem to. He doesn't. I say I like the way. I don't like it at all. He doesn't give a shit.
No, he
like
doesn't.
you told him not to do it.
Yeah.
Told him. You said, "Ad, stop doing that."
There's nothing wrong with it.
In your opinion,
Yeah.
what do you reckon, Cameron?
I think it's perfectly fine.
Fucking kids.
Young.
Kids these days.
You're out of touch.
We are out of touch. That's for sure. Yeah,
Do you
go
think the Sun will take measures to redress their status with the football clubs of the city of Liverpool?
Wow.
That's massive.
Big question.
Do you want to get? Should I give it a go?
Yeah, go on. You get the ball rolling.
I think that I ultimately think that the Sun, there's nothing the Sun can do to repair their situation,
No.
and I like the fact that that will never be the case. I quite like the kind of standing up against what they consider to be reporting that is unacceptable, because it's such an important thing. The reporting of any kind of news by the biggest newspaper in the country, that's a massive responsibility, and sometimes that responsibility is flaunted, and it's a little bit they're kind of approaching it in a way that without due consideration, and I think it was, from my opinion, it's a little bit strange that the Everton took so long. It was weird. I thought they were banned already. But it was only after the comments about Ross Barkley and what's his face,
Kelvin McKenzie.
Yeah, Kelvin McKenzie's description of people from Merseyside that meant that they were, that Everton took that final step.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of like a spoken, unspoken thing.
Do I think the Sun will take measures to redress their status? I don't know. I mean, I think that it'd be smart to, but
To show.
Yeah, to show humility. But however, will they? Probably not. Would it be accepted? Probably not. I think what's not what's more interesting. I think what's also interesting is whether people will. So, for example, TalkSport's just been bought by News, which is the company that owns the Sun brand, and I'm just wondering if things like that will boil over to other publications and people that are about that. Because I remember actually there was Stan Collymore, didn't he? He tweeted righty, and they had a bit of a go to head because he put something on there going about him writing for that, which it's problematic. I don't know why he's doing that, but
such a difficult thing.
It's a very difficult subject matter.
Yeah. So thanks for that, Mark. This is supposed to be a nice little chat.
Cheers for that really difficult question, of which there's no right answer and there's no winning out of. But I don't know if the Sun care enough, or whether that actually it would be. There's anything that can be done.
Should we lighten the mood a bit?
Yeah, we need to.
Yeah.
Because this is a bit.
So we've got a new section of the podcast we've been talking about for a while.
Top fives.
Top fives, mate. Everyone loves a top five.
Everyone does love a top five.
Or a top 10. Half the internet was built on top 10. So we thought we're going to get you down. Like if you're listening to us or watching us on YouTube, go on the comments below and give us some of the top fives that we should tackle next week. They don't have to be football related, or if they are, that's
so
fine.
what kind? Okay, so cause I was thinking it'd be like, top five strikers.
Well, I asked
top five kits.
I asked my
but you're saying it can be other stuff.
Top 5 sandwiches.
I like that.
I like that.
So it can be other stuff as well, like top 5
goals, goal celebrations,
music, or
top 5 biscuits.
That's a good one. Yeah. I like biscuits.
Well, let's quickly. What's your top 5 biscuits?
Well, should we do that now?
Yeah, all right. Top 5 biscuits.
So essentially, you give us a top 5 for any subject matter. We'll choose one and then we'll do it on the pod to give you our top 5. But equally, tell us yours, because you might, if you think we've missed something out, then
equally, if we mention a biscuit that you think we should have included but didn't, we'll eat it on the next pod and review it.
We'll review it.
Unless it's a ginger nut. None of you sick bastards say ginger nut. You ever have a ginger nut in your life?
Yeah.
Tuck shop. Do you have a tuck shop at school?
Of course.
And did you get paper bags?
Mate, I remember the tuck shop at the back of the Huddersfield. There was a stand, and you'd go up, and and all they'd sell was like literally a big long slab of chewing gum. I've never seen chewing gum dispensed like this. Like you'd buy like an A4 of chewing gum. They were called Clicks. Yeah, Clicks. That was it, and maybe like fucking Bovril or something.
This is why I never want to leave London. What goes on outside? You leave London.
This is why
goes out.
I never want to leave London.
Yeah, build a wall. No, actually, that's probably around.
Get off my glasses.
Oh, they yours.
Yeah.
Go on then. Top 5 biscuits.
What,
In at 5. Dun, 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 dun.
Hang on a minute. I just need to clarify.
All right. Don't say bourbon. Chocolate bourbon. I will leave.
All right.
Most overrated biscuit.
So I haven't prepared this, so
All
this
right.
probably isn't going to be the best list ever.
But that's all right.
But I think that there's a couple of things that need to be on there.
Yeah.
You've got to have a Kit Kat on. Is that in the biscuit range? A 2-finger Kit Kat?
It's
It's not in the range.
What are you?
All right,
That's a chocolate bar all day of the
I'm
week.
just clarifying. What about a yo-yo? I just want to know what I'm dealing with. Is yo-yo a biscuit?
What are you saying, boys?
I don't know what a yo-yo is.
I don't know what a yo-yo
It's
is.
covered in tinfoil.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know what
the
it is.
green mint
It's not-
typically.
that's not a biscuit. We're talking about
sake.
digestives. We're talking about rich tea,
cream.
All right.
custard creams,
All right.
bourbons.
Custard creams is in there.
Really? Custard creams?
Chocolate hobnob.
All right,
chocolate
I'm
hobnob.
with you there.
Because that in a tea or a coffee or something like that is strong.
It is, and the good consistency. Chocolate hobnob is definitely in there, maybe
Yeah.
one.
Chocolate hobnob and a custard cream is in there.
I'll give you that, but I don't want it.
You don't want a custard
No,
cream.
it's just sickly, and you eat 2 or 3 of them, and you're like, what's going on? Why can't I? It's like, this is what I'd imagine. I don't want to finish that sentence. Family podcast.
It's not though, is it?
No, I'm still not going to finish the
Okay.
sentence. It was pretty good.
So I can literally name 3 biscuits.
Rich tea? Rich tea?
Do you know what? I think a rich tea, they're too weak.
Yeah.
It's like, they're one of them that's too brittle and weak.
What are you saying, boys?
Chocolate hobnobs.
Digestives.
You know, the
Chocolate digestive.
with a layer of caramel in between the chocolate and biscuit.
Oh, Oreo. Oreos. You don't like an Oreo?
No, I do not like an Oreo.
How can you
Quite
not?
like Oreo.
When, when did the USA
I've got chocolate
ever
hobnobs
produce a good
1,
biscuit?
Oreos 2. I've got a custard cream 3.
Yeah.
At number 4, and I can't believe because a breakaway and a yo-yo, and they're not fucking chocolate bars. They're fucking biscuits.
Okay, right,
They're
fine.
in the biscuit section.
Look, if you feel strongly about
I
it,
want
do it.
I want a mint Viscount. A mint Viscount. It's like a posh yo-yo.
Yeah.
That's in at number 4, and I'm just gonna stick a jammy Dodger in at 5. Just
Jammy,
for,
all right.
a jammy Dodger with cream,
Yeah.
not just the tomato, the strawberry.
Yeah.
That's my top 5.
I'm
Beat
fine. I'm not going to give you my top 5. I don't care about biscuits at all.
You just said that, but a minute ago you were like angry at ginger nuts.
I just fucking hate ginger nuts.
Don't tell me
like-
you don't care about biscuits when you clearly care about ginger nuts.
How is ginger nuts? How have they continued to make money and be produced like fucking forever? Like who? What? I mean, my nan eats. She don't even eat ginger nuts actually.
Yeah, but I bet she's got them in the tin though.
In the
I bet
tin.
they're in the tin.
In the
It's
tin.
one of them, isn't it? Where it's like the you get a box of chocolates and then there's always that one thing where there's a load of them left. The ginger nuts like that in a mixed tin of biscuits. Your foil ones gone straight away. Jammy Dodgers, they're over. Custard creams. Bourbon's your last few, but your ginger nuts never go.
Bourbons.
Yeah.
All right.
So that's
just,
it.
Just
Top 5 biscuits. It's official.
get some better ones. We can do football ones as well, but that I mean, I'm just as a sandwich one.
That's the
Quick,
start.
you know, just
we
as a
can't
sandwich.
do the sandwich.
Not top 5 sandwich. Just my favourite sandwich.
Yeah, you want it?
Please.
All right. What's your favourite sandwich?
Cheese Plowman's.
Do you feel good now?
Better, yeah.
You care about
Got-
cheese
Got
sandwiches.
to take the tomato out though.
You got to take the tomato out.
Cheese. All right, so
All
we've
right.
got pod questions. This is the bit where
Sorry, before, let us know what biscuits we've missed. Let us know what your top 5 is. Let us know if ginger nut is on your top 5. I want to know if actually everyone feels like this or whether it's just you
No one
that's aggressive,
No one
overly
does.
aggressive towards them. And then let us know what top 5 you'd like us to do next week. And as this is the first one, there's no preparation, but we'll actually come back with some.
Yeah, should we put some thought into it?
We'll
before
put
we
some
go?
thought
All
into
right.
it. Put 5 minutes of thought into it.
Good. Pod questions this week. We've got Joseph. Actually, if you want us to answer your questions, you leave them in the comments below. #pod questions. We always read through and we read through every comment that people post. Genuinely, I know everyone says that and they're probably lying, but we do.
Yeah, because we only get 10 comments.
So that's not true.
No,
we
I
get
know,
lots.
yeah.
Joseph Barker
Yeah.
at Joe_Barker1998 sent this in on Twitter. Says, does the reaction of journos regarding Spurs fans cheering Wilshere's injury show how out of touch they are with proper football fans?
So what happened? Spurs were playing Bournemouth. Wilshere got injured.
Yep, he got
You
injured.
celebrated.
I wouldn't say celebration like a goal celebration, but it was just a hooray, but a collective of them.
Right. And the journalists are now going, this is outrageous, this is terrible.
Disgusting behaviour from Spurs fans and that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, from my perspective,
yeah,
this is Wilshere's fault. But on a second level, I respect Wilshere.
Okay.
I've said this before. Only Arsenal player I respect.
Right.
Because he gets the rivalry. He hates us. And we hate him.
And that's fine.
That's fine.
I know. Like, people get so stressed out about that. It's fine. The Batman should hate the fucking Joker.
Yes.
Because the Joker fucking would kill him at his first opportunity.
Yeah, although I wouldn't say Wilshere was Batman. Joker. I would say he's more of a fucking...
Smoker. It rhymed with Joker. It's not even a real guy. Why are you stuck? Why? Who's frozen Flav?
Just trying to think of a shit DC enemy. Don't matter. But
DC?
The DC, that doesn't matter. The world of... I've bollocksed it, haven't I?
Yeah.
So anyway, look, what we didn't realise at the time is that he broke his leg.
Okay.
Yeah, which changes things somewhat. That said, I'm still, I'm fine
You
with
stand by the
absolutely.
the laugh.
It's about rivalry. He broke the fourth wall. He made it personal when, on their victory parade, when Arsenal had just won the FA Cup, in his brain he was thinking about Tottenham.
Yeah.
As any good Arsenal fan should be.
Yeah.
And he did the what do you think of Tottenham shit? What do you think of shit Tottenham?
Yeah.
On their bus parade.
Yeah.
So at that point you're like, all right, he wants it. The guy wants it. He's not.
Yeah. So he's setting the. He's actually saying these are the rules. He's
These
not
are
going,
rules.
oh, hang on, don't ask me that question. I respect Tottenham. They're an equal competitor in this,
Yeah.
and I actually wouldn't want to say anything profane. He's actually going, profane's cool.
Yeah.
This is the rules. It's like someone starting a fight and then complaining and get hit.
That.
Of course. So he set up the rules. So therefore, he's laid himself vulnerable to that kind of thing, yeah.
And I think he understands that and understands that.
Okay.
I think he
So the question, it's good. I love how you speak about that stuff because people go, "Oh, you're biased." It's like, no. I support this team, therefore I hate this. I mean, I don't understand why people do that. But this Joey Barker's question is: does the reaction of journalists, etc., regarding Spurs fans cheering this injury show how out of touch they are with the proper football fans? So I think that, like, journalists are out of touch with proper fans. They just are. Yeah. I think that they sit in their free tickets. They sit in their little allocated box. They look forward to their half-time sandwiches and their biscuits. Probably all of them like ginger nuts, I would expect, Flav. And they sit up there and they get access and they're kind of they see themselves on a little bit of a pedestal.
Absolutely.
I've seen that. I've worked in this industry for a long time and know many journalists that's the case. And a lot of them don't even feel that fans have really got... It's changing, and in 5 years' time I think that they'll understand it better. But I think that there certainly is a reality around them being out of touch. Yeah. However, I think it's about perspective, I think that there's a perspective for whatever... if you won 4-0, there's not that many narratives for them to go with. But what is going to sell papers for them is to go, is to highlight that and to try and take an angle on it. So it's just like football, it's regardless of them being out of touch, the press are just constantly trying to find angles in which to create some kind of drama so that people click on it, so that people pick it up and pay the 50p or the pound or whatever it is to buy it. Simple as that. That's their entire agenda. Yeah. That's what they're tasked on. That's what they're focused on. So all it does is it just shows that they're going, oh, hang on a minute, we can fucking put an angle on this and we can create something because Spurs versus Arsenal, that sells.
100% agree. 100% agree with that. I would say that there is a small percentage or a chance that the journalist was offended and probably has the remit to write about what they want. But much, much, much more likely that this is about where are the angles in this football match. Spurs beating Bournemouth 4-0 doesn't sell.
No.
But, it's fine. I mean, it also, the injury came from...
Because everyone's like, and this is the thing, it's about understanding people's perspectives for the decisions that they make and for the things that they do. Yeah. And news organisations, especially from traditional media, what they're wanting, it's about reach for them. It's about getting as many people, as much audience as possible, because that will come to their websites, that will visit their papers, because that translates into dollars, into ad dollars or pounds, rather.
And these are the same.
So that's the game.
These are the same newspapers that wax lyrical about atmosphere, about a brilliant atmosphere at certain games. The atmosphere of the North London derby, the Old Firm, the Merseyside derby, the Northwest derby between Liverpool and Man United. That atmosphere comes from the very hatred that fueled the jeers that were aimed at Wilshere. You can't have it all.
Of course it does.
You love the
and it's been a constant thing. It's like they build up people in order to knock them down. They build up from a Wayne Rooney. They'd build him up. Oh, he's the best ever, because the more that they help him inflate that opinion, then when he has an off day or makes a mistake, then they can kind of go the other way. And you know, so it's just what they do all the time. So that's what they're all about. Next question.
Thanks for the question, Joe. Send more. JB, he said on Pod Questions. This was on our podcast a couple of weeks ago, which we did a lot about Arsenal. And the stuff that's happening.
And we might have some from Arsenal Fan TV on next week as well.
Hopefully, fingers crossed. What are your thoughts on teams that have basically zero support but get progression through the leagues? For example, Doncaster, top of League 2, but get a third of their stadium is 5,000. A third of their stadium full, 5,000 a week. I mean, I guess you could look at that with.
What's my thoughts on that?
I mean, what's he saying? Is he saying that he hates small clubs doing well? That's what it feels like.
Yeah. So everyone's got a right. To play
and to do well,
but only get a third of their stadium in 5,000 a week. I mean, Jay, you need to take care of your sentence structure a little bit more so we can really answer your question properly.
Yeah.
But I've no problem with it. I think that there's almost the main times when I've resented clubs doing well is when it's fucking Bradford or Barnsley, and I see them as being lesser than us because of history and a variety of other reasons, and then they've kind of done well and got to the Prem, and it's mainly been driven by jealousy. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah,
so
but
it's mainly been driven by, and that's my prerogative.
Yeah.
But there's another occasion, and that's the likes of when I've seen a rugby town do really well. So Wigan, Hull, probably more, where they've kind of done well and got up, and all of a sudden been a Premier League club, and all of a sudden then the fans are coming out of the woodwork and they're getting 20,000 when they used to get 4,000 or 5,000. I have a slight that irritates me a little bit, because I think if you're going to come now, why weren't you coming then? You know.
Let me flip that. Man City hold the record in League One for the biggest gate ever, and it's something like 33,000. They sold out.
Yeah.
When they were down in League One. Now they struggle to fill.
Yeah.
Etihad.
Sorry.
Same thing.
What's the capacity of Etihad now? Is it 50 odd or something?
Oh yeah.
It's close to 60, I think.
Is it really?
60.
Fucking hell.
Adam, I'd just like to say that Cameron is eating your lunch today in terms of facts and statistics. It's all right being really comfortable and looking really cool with like multiple brands on, but please try and do a little bit more research about the show, thanks.
Right.
Slacking, innit? Because you vouch for him as well.
Yeah. I vouch for you.
Every day you vouch for him, and we're like, not sure it's working out. Disappointing.
Think on it.
Yeah, think on.
Do you? Yeah. So I don't know why anyone would have had a problem with a small club going. What you don't like Hull going up because it should have been Huddersfield? Is it just bitterness?
Yeah, there's sometimes I'm jealous. Of course.
All right.
But now what were we saying before the Man City one?
Yeah.
But that's the thing, right? And there's a Man City fan on here that we've had. Sometimes I don't understand. He's what he's actually asking me, and he's making out that I've said things that I don't think I have. But we've had a couple of good chats on here, and he talks about it, and he did go back in them days. But because do you remember I said a bit ago, I'd never want us to be Man City, and part of my don't want to be in the Premier League. Although it's not an option because we're not going to make it anyway. I don't want to be in the Premier. We're not going to make it.
Still do it,
we're not
mate.
going to do it. We might not even get in the playoffs. We're not going to do it.
You will.
We're not doing it, Flav. Leave it.
Okay. Sorry.
It's all right.
See you getting upset.
I am a bit upset, but I've also got a really itchy nose, which is making me look more upset than I probably am. But the thing with City is that like I preferred City when they were shit. I remember City getting relegated. I remember getting relegated again. I remember coming back. I think it was in Notts County at Wembley when they came back into playoffs and won, even though they were like maybe losing. And their support has always been one of the best supports. But it feels like the identity of that club has slightly been lost. And although they're very slick, they've got really advanced commercial teams, they've got the best consultants, and they've got all this content and all the way that they market the club. I don't know. For me, there's something that's not. Georgie King-Cladsey, people like Andy Morrison, Sean Goater. I just don't know if they just buy all these players that I haven't even heard of for 30-40 million, and it's just like.
I guess the point. Yeah, I mean, I guess the point is that I think there are Man City fans, I think there are Arsenal fans, I think there's Spurs fans of top clubs who do hanker for the times of yesteryear when the club was probably a little bit more legitimate, where it wasn't just so good at marketing itself and wasn't such a globally significant company. And the times we're just going and watching football and paying on the door has gone. I'd imagine there are fans out there, certainly the older generation. However, speak to my dad. What does he want from Tottenham? He wants the richest man in the world to buy Tottenham, so he can get all of it. He wants it all.
Your dad's.
That's my dad.
Your dad's.
I'm having
brutal, isn't he?
He doesn't give a shit.
He's like the apex predator in the jungle. He just kind of.
Yeah.
He's got a killer instinct. I like it.
Yeah.
Making you send out tweets like that.
Yeah.
Greedy. I'm surprised that you're from a man like that.
Oh, don't even get me started. Don't get me started. I can't even tell you how true that statement is because of. Yeah, let's leave it there.
Okay. All right. So I'm not sure we've answered that question, but I don't really understand the question. But thank you, JB, anyway. Yeah. Cheers for watching and being involved.
Right. So there's two.
And if you're a Donny fan, congrats.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So we've got a question from David Hill, and this kind of links into a question about 1882, whereas I was banging on about last week. But a lot of people are like, well, what is that? So I was explaining it. But Dave, actually, I'm sorry, I fucked it up. Wrong one. Jamie Catton. He says, the best podcast on YouTube, also love Ball Street. Question, would you rather see your club, Spurs or Huddersfield, win the Premier League with no English players, or England win the international, or England win an international tournament? Because for me, after seeing Wales reach the Euros semis, I actually think I would prefer to see Wales win an international tournament than Cardiff win the Premier League with a team. Basically what he's saying is there less value in your team being full of players that aren't foreigners? Or is it more important to you that you have the homegrown players to achieve the success?
Yeah, I mean, it's a really good question. So I like these ones that make you kind of think and weigh stuff up.
So when you get a player who comes to Huddersfield who is from another country, who doesn't really understand the culture around Yorkshire, certainly the nuances of a club like Huddersfield, how long before they're adopted? Or is it simply a case of they're great players and fucking we need them? Or is there a middle ground?
It's weird, isn't it? It's weird what makes you fall in love with a player. So, okay, Aaron Moy is Australian.
Yeah.
And I love him. I fucking adore Aaron Moy.
At that level.
Yeah, he's awesome. And so I love him, and he's an Aussie. And traditionally, although I've got some Australian friends, I've always been very competitive with him at sports. But I love Aaron Moy, right?
Specifically Australians?
Yeah, I was always a bit, because of the Ashes, I used to like a little cricket. Well, I still do, but I was raised on cricket, and we used to get whipped by them every year, and it was every Ashes, every few years.
Yeah.
But we've got a player called a German called Hefele, right? And he hadn't even really played, but just by the way he kind of acted and stuff like that, like at the start of the season, there's this weird clip that kind of went viral in Huddersfield circles of him just walking out of the team hotel just in a dressing gown like that, and he's called the Hef as well, and just kind of talking about season tickets. And he's a character, and he's the one that said when we beat Leeds, he'd scored the winning goal in the last minute, so that'll do it. But he then gives it it's in the interview he's like, oh yeah, well, it's a fucking dream like that, and they were like, oh sorry, you can't swear on Sky, and he's like, oh yeah, sorry. So we've now started this, it's a fucking dream.
Yeah, that's
it's
great.
A fucking dream, and he's a cult hero.
Yeah.
So the fact that whether they're English or not, I actually am able to attach myself to these people because I love Moy, I love Hef, and the fans love Hef. So it's kind of, but we're a lower division club, or these guys are. They're not household names. They're not people that are over here and then looking to kind of move. It feels like just because they're not from Yorkshire or from England, I still feel that they're blue collar kind of footballers in a way.
Yeah, that makes sense. It completely.
So I still feel an attachment to them regardless.
Yeah,
but I feel no attachment to the England team.
No,
and they're English. Yeah. I feel no attachment to that team right now.
No, and I think Wales supporters generally, Welsh people were more nationalistic than the vast majority of English players. But I don't have anything to back that up. That's just my gut feeling from watching the international football.
Yeah.
Spurs, conversely, I agree with everything you've just said. I have experience of that. But we just tend to we've got at the moment a core of English players.
That's right. Stuart Dyer, Ali, Carl Walker, and
Danny Rose, Harry Kane.
Yeah. The old Azza Kane.
Hunming Song.
Yeah.
But no, I just think I'm lucky enough to have it because there is naturally a kind of more a kind of affinity for
England right now because you've got a lot of Spurs players.
Yeah, but you also make assumptions about the fact that they get the club because they're English, when that may not be true.
Yeah, I don't think I was going to say
probably
that's
not true.
Kind of quite a.
But it's an easy thing just to accept.
Yeah.
So you don't have to work hard at falling in love with the player. I think ultimately though it is about those little things that the players do that you attach themselves to. Yeah, so I'll give you an example. You're like this. The players have been allowed at Spurs to use live Instagram, and they're on this plane flying back from somewhere, Sunderland, I think. And there's Danny Rose and there's Kyle Walker on Instagram, and they're answering questions, and it's on live, and they're literally just every now and then glancing on it. And someone put on the Instagram feed, what do you say about the rumours that Manchester City are going to spend 60 million on you, Danny Rose, and Kyle Walker, and they're both standing there, and Danny Rose is like, asked the question, goes, "What do you think, Kyle?" And Kyle Walker just looks over and went, "Tottenham for life." And that was just a small thing. And Tottenham for life isn't that. I mean, I wouldn't say that in any seriousness about me saying Tottenham for life. But the fact that he said it, looked at a rumour that you think, I'm a bit worried that Man City might be able to buy him out of his contract.
Yeah.
But that for me was like, I love him now. Danny Rose's no nonsense attitude,
probably got off the plane, was like that straight onto his agent. It's like, this fucking City thing, can you make that happen? Yeah, what will I get paid? Yeah. All right, cool.
Yeah, cheers.
It's probably off, mate.
Cheers for that. Cheers for that, mate. I love Danny Rose as well. He doesn't have any social media.
Doesn't he?
He doesn't play that game.
Doesn't he?
And for that, and the only time
it's
you've
a
seen
mistake.
It's a mistake.
Danny, we should talk. Yeah.
Do you reckon? He's gonna have so much money, he doesn't do whatever he wants, isn't he? But
well, you know,
in a world where there's so much social media, and for good, you know, we love social media. We exist because social media is a thing.
Well,
to some degree. No,
I don't know.
Should I retract that?
No, I don't know.
All right. Well,
let it hang.
Let it hang. It might not be true. Danny Rose is kind of a bit of a throwback. I get old school football.
Yeah.
And that's why we love him. Stefan Freund was terrible for Spurs, but he had a cult following.
So this guy, let's answer this guy's question, because we've kind of. So what he's saying is, would I rather Huddersfield win the league or England win the World Cup? So for a long time, fuck me, it's difficult, right? I kind of feel that, and I've really felt in touch with people in this country, and we've gone into these tournaments, and I've started, hang on a minute, it's Euro 96, we could do this, or it's France 98 or whatever. God, come on, boys. Yeah. And you start to get into that thing. You really feel like winning something like that, because it's a national game and there's such an obsession with football, that winning something like that would be fantastic for everybody. It'd be such a lift to the whole country. You know, much like a great summer makes everyone feel better. You often feel that real success in sport, everyone wears that with pride, and it matters to everyone. So I've felt that for a long period of time, and I've always felt a little bit disappointed by England, because I always thought, look, I support a shit team that doesn't have many heroes. We certainly don't buy any. There's all this Premier League arrogance. There's all this money in the game. There's these players driving around in their cars and full of, you know, feeling like they're great, and a lot of the time acting. I remember hearing Kieran Dyer or whatever, hearing stories about him burning money on a bus in front of people abroad. I remember hearing other players kind of like pouring Cristal on the floor, and just because, you know, just acting kind of vulgar with excess. So I've always felt a little bit disappointed by England, given all the money and all the Premier League and all the prestige involved in these top players, that when they wear an England shirt, they're poor. and that I think that and it's a letdown, and we miss an opportunity to kind of make everybody proud. So I would have always said England, but actually right now, I kind of feel like saying, do you know what, like, fuck it, give me the Hefener and Moy, you know, getting medals, give me that.
I also think that the rivalry is counterproductive to supporting England. The rivalry in football, club rivalry, is counterproductive to coming together as a nation to support another football team.
Well, any other team, right? Any of the top teams, so Liverpool, I put in this bracket, Manchester United particularly, I think that they've had it so good for such, like the Liverpool era, when they were winning everything, and then it was kind of the United era. And I think that those two teams, and this could be wrong, it's just my opinion, was that those two teams in particular really more than anyone else, favoured the club over country, and to the stage where didn't want their players to play for England. Almost.
Yeah. I mean, so that's definitely true in Merseyside, in Liverpool.
Yeah.
I mean, they're proud of.
But Spurs, I've always felt were quite up for England. Spurs fans, and maybe because you actually you weren't competing for trophies.
It's not. There's two things. Yeah, maybe that's true, but ultimately, this is where I come from. One, I don't want Spurs players playing for England because they get injured and could fuck our club season. But more importantly, I don't want Liverpool fans or Arsenal fans getting any enjoyment out of football.
No.
That doesn't make any sense.
No, you want them to be punished.
Feel pain.
Yeah.
In footballing sense.
Yeah.
I don't want pain. I don't want to sit there and support Ashley Cole or John Terry.
No.
Or Jack Wilshere.
No.
I can't say, go on, Jack Wilshere.
You wanted to break his legs.
I don't want him to break his legs, but I'm not going to be up in arms or cry my eyes out if he does.
You're going to cheer if he does.
I wouldn't. I mean, probably. I mean, look, if it was a snap and it was a disfigured leg, I wouldn't cheer that because that's. I mean, ultimately, he's a human being.
What about how do you feel if, say, you'd somehow accidentally, I don't know, had a car crash, like a not a really bad crash, right, but you'd caught this car, and he was driving and you'd broke his leg. Would you feel bad, or would you feel like quite chuffed about that? Would you be almost wearing that as a badge outside of it? Would you be kind of like almost like at White Hart Lane? Be honest.
I'd be quite distressed that I'd caused I've been in a car accident that another human being had been injured.
No one died.
What you asked me to, I can't say yes to that in front of the cameras and being recorded.
No, I just wondered if like where the line was, like, because because all the Spurs fans cheered, you kind of made light of it. What if it was actually the blood or the break was on your thing? I just wondered. That's answer. We can move on. I
mean, if it was Sol Campbell, fine.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sol Campbell.
Absolutely, no issue with that.
Okay.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't drive into him on purpose.
No.
But if it happened, it happened.
If he was like at the lights.
I mean, he's done more to me emotionally than a broken leg.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So, David Hill, thoughts on atmosphere? Absolutely detest the away fans that are taking over atmospheres. I believe that standing and singing sections are a must for home fans in modern football as tourism is on the rise. I'm a Liverpool fan, and after the conclusive evidence from the Hillsborough inquiry, I think our club should be the team to lead this move to change in England. Football has developed, as have stadium security. I believe it's time for a change. There's quite a lot there. Firstly, just quickly, away fans have always been the loudest. You know, it's very rare for a home ground to the home set fans to be the loudest.
Well, it's generally. Just that thing, isn't it? It's like you're travelling somewhere, you're getting up earlier, you're probably having a couple more beers. There's a bit of your senses are stimulated when you're travelling to someone else's town. It's you're
going into
environment.
Enemy territory.
There's a bit of enemy territory about it, and that's why the whole casual movement was kind of based on that. Was like everyone would get dressed up and look their best, and it's actually Liverpool fans that I think, because they were doing so well in Europe, they'd go abroad, they'd come back with all these brands and these names that weren't relevant over here. Right. They'd all get dressed up in their I don't know, Lecoq or their Sergio Tacchini.
That's right.
Or whatever. And
Lecoq Sportif.
That's the one. And Lacoste and stuff like that, and they'd come back with all these clothes, and they'd be going around to other parts of the UK and looking fantastic. And everyone like, fuck, we want to do that. And that whole casuals, it was more the away support. That would be the lads that are going there and that are looking for bother. So I think there is that whole away days thing that's always been a big part of football culture. So that isn't going away. I don't think you can detest them or resent them. Personally, I grew up watching that and thinking it was beautiful. It was like, I remember away fans exploding and just sort of like ticker tape, cities, inflatables. I loved, the atmosphere that away support would bring would be amazing. But this guy's right. I think that the safe standing, things to do with facilitating an atmosphere at home, it is definitely a must, really, because especially when you give the away fans like behind the goal, and they can create all that atmosphere in and around corners, or it has an impact. So yes, the home team should be doing more, and Liverpool could be part of that.
There's something in David. I think what might have happened is David, and this is a massive assumption, but this is what I'm guessing, that Liverpool have had some poor results at home this season, and he's been irritated by how loud the away fans are. That's my assumption. Yeah. The other part of his question, it's such a difficult issue around safe standing and the Hillsborough and Liverpool Football Club. I'm not going to ever say that Liverpool should be the team leading it. It's a conversation that you need to have with your fans and your club.
There's a group as well that's talking about that, isn't there? What they call
it was is it Spion or the cop? Help us out. Spy and Cop. We might be wrong. They're looking at currently, and they may have moved on from this stage. But we talked to the FSF on the Long Ball Street podcast previously.
That's right. Yeah.
And they were looking to move towards having a position. So should we have a position on this, or should we just not comment at all?
That's Liverpool fans' prerogative.
Yeah.
Entirely. And I remember that day actually when that happened.
I think. Sorry,
I was at Huddersfield match the day that happened. I remember it sort of coming through on people's radio and almost like word, because a lot of people used to go to, you got phones, you can be updated. A lot of people used to go and have like a little radio in so they could get the other scores and that lot. And I remember it kind of spilling out onto the, like, people starting to talk about it. This is what's happened. It was grim. So I remember that day, and anyone that went to football, and even people that hadn't been to the football, that was something that touched everybody,
I think we're luckily, David, in a position where that movement towards safe standing has gathered enough pace that it's inevitable. Don't think we Liverpool fans or the club or the supporters movement have to be involved at all. They certainly don't have to be leading it. It's a very difficult position for them to be in. They can sit back and let the wave, the energy towards safe standing build up and let it do its job.
I remember actually going. So it was it must have been in the early 2000s, or in fact no, sorry, it's probably between 95 and 98 because I was at uni, and there was a mate of mine, a really good, one of my besties. He's a Scouser called Neil, and he live bird tattoo, Liverpool mad, dad, great stories about back in the day and all that kind of stuff. And I remember going to, it was the year actually Liverpool had played Celtic and Steve McManaman had scored that amazing goal at Celtic, I think, where the ball kind of came to him on halfway and his first touch was to touch it round, so go around. It was like an individual goal. Yeah. And I'm pretty sure McManaman scored. Was it McManaman? Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was the deal, right? Yeah. And then we went to the return game. So it was Liverpool versus Celtic, a European match. I can't remember if it was UEFA, Europa, Champions League, whatever the fuck it was. It was a European game. And we went in the Cop. And the whole game, like, we and the whole place around us was basically standing up, chanting, no seats. And that was the...
based on what?
People wanted to stand up at the football. And this is a long time ago. Oh. So I was in the Cop and everyone's chanting no seats. And I was kind of there doing the same as a part of it. And it was amazing, the atmosphere, the flags, and it was fucking incredible. But that's...
You've gone to a lot of football that isn't to do with Huddersfield, haven't you? That just occurred to me. So you've been to Millwall.
I've been to Millwall.
Which is a strange one. You've been to Liverpool, you've been to Rangers, Celtic.
Yeah, I've been to that.
Never been to Tottenham with me.
I've not. I've been to watch Tottenham Leeds.
Where? At Ellen Road?
No, I've been to Tottenham Leeds at Tottenham.
Oh, so you have? Why did
and do you know what?
I've been interested?
I've been in the... I think I was in the fucking... Was I in the Leeds end for that? Because I've got mates that are Leeds, I've got mates that are Spurs. And I think we all went and I ended up with a ticket in that.
What game was it? Can you remember? Was it recently?
No, it was... Well, fucking... Leeds played Tottenham recently.
About 5 years ago in Jermaine Beckford.
It was probably before that. It might have been... I don't know. I'm going to say 2002 to 2006 era, something like that.
All right.
But yeah, a few games.
See, yeah, you just... What is it? You just
World Cup final. No big deal.
You went to the World Cup final.
Yeah. Brilliant. My best game, though, is my best ever football match. I think my most favourite ever football experience was I went travelling in Peru. And I think that the way that the Peruvian league is set up, you get like a north, because they're travelling around places in South America. You've got the Andes movement, Andes mountains, and you've got all this kind of... It's difficult, right? Yeah. So it's not like you can just drive up the M1. You're going up and down. It takes 20 hours to get to that town over there. Yeah. So their league's built... I think that there's maybe a north and a south, and they play, and then they maybe meet for a final. It's something like a playoff type thing. It was something like that. Yeah. And there's a place called Cusco, and I think their team's Cinciano. And Cinciano, so that's the gateway to Machu Picchu. which is the Inca Trail, which is like the kind of ancient city. It's a beautiful place, one of the wonders of the world, right? And so anyway, we arrived in Cusco, just as they'd won their whole thing for the first time in 100 years, something like that, right? Yeah. They'd won this thing. So they were all partying and celebrating, so I was out there, and I didn't know Spanish that well. So I was out there, and I can't remember, I had lost the girl that I was with and our friends kind of thing. And I was in this place trying to find them, and the whole city square in Cusco's a very cool little town, but the traffic's at standstill. People are on the tops of their cars. It's a proper celebration, and I'm there, and there's just random people coming up, and all I could say was Norberto Solano. At that point in time, that's all I could do.
The universal language.
The universal language. It was Norberto Solano, like that. And they were like that. That's
That'll
it.
do.
And then they're just making you drink this homemade alcohol, which is horrible.
Right.
But so they were playing then Lima, which is the capital of Peru, in this two-legged final, and so we managed to get tickets to go to this game. And it was fucking nuts. Like, it was crazy. Like the fireworks, the stuff that was getting thrown on the pitch, to the stage where when they were taking corners, you had armoured police that would take these shields up and kind of create almost a bit like Batfink used to do, the cartoon. But they'd create these shields out of there so people could take corners and stuff like that.
I've seen that before.
So
they protect the corner, so it's a shield, and then there's like a roof to it.
So there's a few of them making this thing, so then they can kind of take corners. That was insane, and they ultimately lost. It might have been on penalties, but that was insane. It's great to see football in different places like that.
Yeah, that does sound amazing.
It was very good.
I can't match that story, so we'll just crack on.
Yeah.
That is incredible. Did you find her again?
Huh?
The bird you lost?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. And the girl that you had to keep going to with the itchy nose, did you see her again?
I just had a few days with her. That was a... Yeah.
Okay. And a question from last week from C122H122. It says, what is the 1882 thing that Flav was on about? Yeah, apologies. I'm not arrogant to assume that everybody knows everything I'm talking about. It's just that... I don't know. Maybe you should know. Find out.
If you don't know, then get to know.
Yeah.
No, look... this is the thing. People you're very, very, very humble. I think you have a jokey bit of arrogance, but ultimately, you're a guy that I think I feel proud that you're my friend. I could imagine in a different scenario whereby I had more time to go out drinking and do stuff like that, because I didn't have these responsibilities and a business to run, which is super stressful and never ending. Then I'd really enjoy it, because you're a very cool guy, lovely, wonderful guy, but it doesn't end there, right? Because what you actually did is, you're not in life. There's a lot of times that people that sit there and they point out, they should have done that. That should be different. That's shit, right? Whereas they don't get off their arse and fucking do anything. And a lot of the people that are ultimately involved in Ball Street. Be that likes of Arsenal Fan TV, Robbie, be that the Redmen, be that some of the guys upstairs that started Twitter accounts, be that whatever. Yeah. We are people that have ultimately at some point looked at the status quo and said, do you know what? That thing there, that's not quite right. Let's organise around that. Let's do something about that. And that's what I love about what we've got within our DNA. It's that. And you did that. You were a big part of doing something like that for Tottenham, weren't you?
Yeah, that's a lovely setup. So the idea was that we were targeting games at Spurs that were either ill-attended, or that the atmosphere was just terrible, or that there was no traditional reason why atmosphere would be at a game. So we wanted a return of atmosphere to football, and just to enjoy our football a bit more.
So basically, the White Hart Lane, the noise wasn't quite there. There was a bit of a lack of atmosphere on occasions, and you wanted to do something about that.
Yeah, it was for main first team games,
right?
But Europa League group matches, 20,000 people there. Most families taking their kids to the game for the first time, cheap tickets. Right. We just thought it was a great opportunity to actually, if there are we run a podcast, relatively popular podcast. If there are listeners out there who are like us and want to have a sing-song of football and go and support the game and have a laugh and not be entirely about the result on the pitch, that we can buy in this one block in Tottenham And if you're interested, buy in that block. And that's
so
what we
you
did.
basically organised for everyone to come and get together so you could create atmosphere in a part of the stadium.
Just put a kind of call out there, just saying, look, we're going to be in this block. We think there are many other fans that are essentially interested in singing and creating atmosphere. And it was just an umbrella for to sit under. It wasn't a movement really. We called it the 1882 movement. Really, it was just an idea for like-minded fans to come and
because 1882 is when the club was formulated. Is that right? And
1882 is the year that Spurs were formed.
And the Twitters love the shirt.
Yeah.
But it manifested then in other ways as well, didn't it? So
Yeah.
it started like some of the stories that I've heard, or some of the really not a documentary. I've seen something wrong. You'd actually then get people. It's almost like, regardless of the first team, we support Tottenham. We love the shirt, so we're going to go and support the kids, right?
That's essentially how it started. The first thing we did was we went to watch the under-16s at Charlton. Did the same thing, put a call out. If you're interested, let's go and wouldn't it be funny? That's ultimately what it was about. I've got a funny idea. It wasn't actually me to come up with it. Someone else did.
Right.
But we went, let's go down to the Valley. Spurs are playing Charlton in the FA Youth Cup, 4th round.
Right.
They had no idea what's going on. They come out and there's like 250 Spurs fans there just singing like it was a Spurs game.
Love that.
And we won. We won 1-0. And what was amazing about it was sung for 90 minutes. All of the players came over afterwards and were clapping and you know, we made their day.
So these are just like 15-year-old kids?
Yeah, they're 15-year-old kids. Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, it was... Yeah, so we just thought it was funny. It would be a good laugh to do it. And then it kind of picked up momentum and we happened to be playing Arsenal at Underhill. And then it was like, this ain't funny anymore, this is Arsenal. And we just again put the call out saying, look, we're going to go down there. It's free to get in. It's standing terraces.
Amazing.
You know, it's a throwback to old school football, and it's against the scum. And it was under 21s. It was different, so it's not it's not FA Youth Cup. And 1,300 people turned up. And I'm not suggesting it was all under the 1882 banner. Yeah. There were lots of people that were coming just for Tottenham, and good, because that was the whole aim. It wasn't us about setting up and it becoming like a vehicle for us to push the podcast. It was never that. We've never monetised the 1882 idea at all. There's never been any badges, nothing like that. Yeah. It was all about getting like-minded fans together. And 1,300 people turned up. There were smoke bombs going off, singing. All the videos on YouTube. Just Google 1882 Underhill, and you'll see what it was like.
Is there a young Flav there?
It was literally 4 years ago, so not that young. But my dad has been to every 1882 one.
Is he?
Yeah. He needs his hip replaced, and he was going all over the place.
Awesome.
So that's what 1882 is.
Good point. Good place to finish.
Yeah.
That's subscribe and stuff.
Yeah, remember, pod questions below. Give us your top 5 biscuits. Give us your top 5 suggestions, and we'll do them next week.
Yeah.
Subscribe if you're listening to us. Go on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Long Ball Street. There's also other bits coming this week. We've got a preview podcast starting up this weekend. Previews.
Oh right, okay. Is that
me
happening?
And James, or Flames, as we like.
That's your name, Flame.
Flames.
Amazing. Yes. So that's going to be on video and on audio. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So you'll be able to find it in the same streams as you use currently.
So we discussed that a few weeks ago, didn't we? And we asked people, and people seem to want a bit more on Ball Street. So we're doing a preview podcast that'll look at the weekend's games.
And we've got other plans as well.
Other plans as well.
Matthew,
see you at Far Post.
Far Post, mate.